All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah HaKodash. I double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere Shalom to Yakim bringing out this word. A sincere Shalom to Yakim bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. And I have this video here, on what just happened in Vietnam about the 86 million bank accounts basically being shut down and them not being able to access their funds, right? Because this is just a prelim, or a pre-trial to what's going to happen in the States, right? And we're going to go into the precepts, and Lord willing, this lesson be edifying. And there it is. He said exactly what the scriptures say, without quoting scripts, right? He said the same system is going to be imposed upon the U.S. You see a gradual step in them having you implement the real ID for travel, being able to get on planes, flights, and etc. But it just goes to show you what limit and to what extent, the devil will push his agenda in order to fulfill his so-called New World Order, man. But the point was, the gradual steps that Esau made in order to, bring forth his New World Order. He started with that real ID to basically get everyone on a system into which restrictions will be, or travel restrictions will be done, unless you comply with that system. And now we understand you receiving a real ID is not, you getting the MOTB, which is the CHIP, because you're not buying and selling with the real ID, You're not implanting that real ID within your body, But nevertheless, it's a gradual step, man, right? So I want to go here into the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, because what he said is that they closed or forced those 86 million accounts to be shut down, right? And that ultimately was the incentive of people getting their lives back, right? It was Revelation 13 and 16. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now I want to go into the word causeth, right? Because by them shutting everyone's ability to buy and sell off, that's ultimately going to, push people towards, making sure that they're able to pay for their cars, their houses, rents, insurance, so forth and so on. And those same people who aren't willing to let those, to let those things go, they're ultimately going to allow, the cares of this life to fully, draw them into receiving that device. Much like Salakia, Lot's wife, She cared about how life was in Sodom and Gomorrah. It wasn't the fact that she just physically looked back. No, her mind was stuck in that place. She couldn't get out of the much like the image of Babylon the Great, where she couldn't get away from the image of Sodom and Gomorrah. She liked her position there. She liked the fact that women had authority over men there. She liked how she more than likely had more friends. Or as Elder Yashawamba says, ubiquitous friends, right? Part of the LMNOP HDMI community, right? So she was fully eloped. Let's go into that word elope really quick. And I'm going to grab that in the book of Isaiah 30. Elope, right? It says elope, to run away. It says to elope. It says to marry secretly, to run away in defiance of parental authority, to marry secretly, right? It says a wedding, right? She was eloped with that place, man. She was joined together with Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Now, let's go into this Isaiah 30 really quick. It's Isaiah 30 and 6. It's like 30 in the top. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Right, and there it is. You're trusting in the shadow of Egypt, which is ultimately when we go into the 36th chapter, in the 6th verse, it tells us, hey, the broken staff, right here, 36 and 6, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. So there it is. You trust in that staff, that support system, that's broken, to ultimately, link you with the system, right? That's why the scripture says in the book of Sirach 13, if thou be for his prophet, he will use thee. Right? Esau has no problem undermining you or tricking you into, being a victim of his system. Now, to go back to the book of Revelation 13, which is the point, right? When you go into this word causeth, is G4160, poeo, or poeo, right? It says to make someone, right? To acquire or to provide a thing for oneself, to make one do something, or to cause one to do something, right? To do a thing unto one, to carry out, to execute. And ultimately, Esau caused those people, by them not being able to let go, to join unto that new system from shutting off their accounts. Well, that's the same thing he's going to do in the times that we're coming into. He's going to cause individuals or lead them out to, right? To appoint or ordain someone to, right? To do what? To actually receive of that MOTB, that charagma, which is the CHI to the P, man. Right? Because making someone destitute, you're putting them in a position to where they're desperate, right? And being that the 2/3 don't have the hedge around them and won't trust in Yahweh Shem Shai, guess what? They're gonna fall victim unto that solution that Esau brings to them, which is the CHIP, man. Right? Mark Charagma G5480. It says the mark of the stamp. It says an imprinted mark. I'm going to the word Charax, which is the instrument, the tool used to administer the CHI to the P, which is a syringe. Right? It says pale stake or palisade, which is just the shape of that tool, right? But we understand it's a syringe, right? It says through the idea of scratching, right? To sharpen to a point. Charagma, it's like a graphos, right? Which is the information stored within that device. Same thing with their bank accounts being changed, man. Or their bank accounts being frozen to now ushered into a new system. Now you have a centralized system in which everyone is now on the same system, right? Much like I mentioned the CBDCs, right? It says to write in reference to the form of letters, to delineate letters on a tablet, parchment, paper, or other material. To write with one, to give information, right? It says, in that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, right? And it says, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark. So it's plain, man. It's plain that everything is leading down to the same solution. Ultimately, he knows that his kingdom is slipping out of his hands. As the scriptures say, the devil knoweth that he have but a short time, right? And he is trying to do everything he can to fully set forth that enterprise, but Yahweh Shem Shai will not allow him, man. Thus saith the scriptures. But this is just a quick lesson through the spirit, because that causeth is going to be great in the times that we're coming into, because he's going to put everybody in straits. Everybody, even us. But we understand, it's imperative to lean upon Yahweh Shem Shai, and he'll supply us with everything. That's why the scripture says, I will trust in the Lord, I will confide in him, right? Those that run into the Lord, it's like they run into a strong tower, and he that runneth to it is safe, right? So, hey, Yahweh Shema Shah is going to provide, man. Those that dwell in the secret place of the Most High, hey, you have nothing to fear or worry about. The Lord knows that we have need of those things, as the scripture says, man. So, Lord willing, the lesson was edifying unto the body. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakaha Kodash. A double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to Yakim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.